Well, the Iranians don't have a lot of good options in front of them. If they don't retaliate against this, the fear in Iran is that they're going to hit even harder and more by the Israelis. So, not retaliating would embolden the Israelis. At the same time, they do realize that this is a bait by the Israelis because the main thing that they have been trying to stop is diplomacy between the US and Iran. From the Iranian perspective, they probably should have some kind of a balance, show some form of a response that would basically prevent an escalation of these attacks. But then at the same time, make sure they calibrate that response in a way that it doesn't escalate into a bigger war. And where that balance lies, I don't exactly know. But I think one thing that analysts in Tehran are warning is that if Tehran takes the bait and goes for the US at this point, then that can definitely pull the US into this war, which still sounds like it's something that neither the Iranian side nor the US side wants. So this, I think, will probably at this step stay between Iran and Israel. But there aren't many good options in front of the Iranians, and we'll just have to wait and see what they will take. So I think this is taking aim at sabotaging diplomacy. The next round of talks was scheduled this Sunday between the US and Iran. We'll see if this has any impact on that. I don't think the Iranians should leave the negotiating table. In fact, they should use the negotiating room to put more pressure on the US to not go down the military path, because this is going to be devastating for the region. I think there's an understanding within the Trump administration, the president himself, the vice president, and some of his senior cabinet members, that the American people don't want war. Poll after poll, including recent polls, have shown that the majority of Americans are not interested in another endless war in the Middle East, which is going to be devastating. A US war with Iran direct conflict is going to look worse than Iraq and Afghanistan combined, potentially. And that's not something the American public wants. And the Trump administration doesn't seem to be interested. At the same time, it sounds like Israeli pressure on them has won, at least in this episode. But the U.S. thought that they could navigate this, but basically signaling that they're no part in it and that the Israelis are doing it alone. And I think the White House statement tonight is very important. It's short and it's concise, but I think that's the message they're trying to send to the Iranians, that we don't want war with Iran. And they're warning the Iranians to not attack them or retaliate against their other partners, which sounds like they're implying are the Arab countries in the region. So we'll have to see how far Iran will escalate this in their retaliation. Is it going to be something calibrated and strategic, or are they going to go all out? And that will determine the next steps.